Hey Fusion Leaders, welcome to Get Dirty Week 3. We're going to wrap up this series this week. We're going to talk about getting dirty is fun. Getting dirty refers to serving other people, helping those in need, serving in our church and outside of our church, really getting out of our boxes and talking and befriending people that we normally wouldn't. That's the kind of stuff that Jesus did, and we're calling that getting dirty. And this week, it's a real simple concept. Getting dirty is fun. This isn't just something that we do because Jesus commands us. Of course, he does. It's not just that this is a hard kind of thing to get dirty, because it is hard sometimes. It's challenging, it's tiring, but it's also really fun because God has made us to get dirty. And so that's the concept for this week. The video, it's really simple idea. I think it'll lead to some good discussion in your groups. We've got some icebreakers on having fun. You could ask things like, what have you done so far this year that's been a lot of fun? What do you normally do for fun? Just kind of get some students talking about what they do that they think is fun or whatever, something like that. And then what do I think? I think these are some good questions to ask. They're good questions for our students who are Christians to think through. It's good questions for non-Christian students to hear the answers to. For example, do you think being a Christian is fun? Why or why not? It's interesting to think about. I wonder if many of our students would say, yeah, it's fun to be a Christian. I think they would, because they have awesome Fusion leaders like you all who make Christianity fun for them. But a lot of people, they don't see Christianity as fun. They see it as something they just have to do. And so maybe talk about how Jesus wants us to live a life that is meaningful and purposeful, and that means that it's going to be fun. Not that everything is easy or that nothing's ever challenging, but it can definitely be fun. A good question. What is the most fun experience you've had while serving someone else? Hopefully there's some good stories of that in your group. Maybe they'll have to do with missions trips, and that's good. But hopefully there's some other examples of serving within our church, or maybe serving at something like Open Hand or in a nursing home, or just helping people out with yard work, whatever it would be. This is an interesting question. Do you think Jesus expects you to have fun? Normally, I think a lot of people kind of view Jesus and God in general just as sort of not being really about fun. But I think God expects us to have fun. There's examples of Jesus smiling when children were around him. The Bible talks about the joy that Jesus had and has. And so I don't think it's wrong to say that Jesus wants us to have fun as we get out there and serve people. And then this is a good question too. Not that you have to use all these, but do you think the world sees the church as a fun group of people? Why or why not? And I would say that probably not. Probably people think of churches as very boring, quiet kind of places, and that Christians are people who just give a lot of rules and regulations. And so it's good to sort of explode that idea and get rid of it, to say, no, God wants us to have lives that are meaningful and joyful, and where we can have some real fun as we serve God. So then what does God say? You could reference the story of Jesus feeding 5,000 people. Talk about that story. You could read it in Matthew 14 and just talk about how much fun it would be there to be a part of that and what that would be like. Describe your feelings if you watched Jesus do this, if you got to be part of that miracle, passing out the baskets of food. Or also Matthew 14, Peter walks on the water. Do you think that was fun? I think that would have been pretty awesome to walk on the water, even though Peter kind of slips there at the end, as we talk about in the sermon recently. Still, this was a fun thing, and talk about what it would be like to be part of. So encourage the students to imagine being part of those stories and just the fun that would have been to be part of that, or maybe some other stories from the Bible too. John 10:10 says, Jesus came to give us a life that is better than anything we've ever dreamed of. Life to the fullest, it says in the NIV. What do you think that means, to have life to the fullest? I think it means to have a life with more purpose and more meaning and more joy than anything we could ever imagine, and part of that happens when we serve people. And then you could ask, have you ever had fun serving Jesus? What made it fun? And then you could talk about just ways that people serve, maybe ways that you serve that Jesus that bring you a lot of fun. Maybe it's serving in Fusion. That would be great. Or other ways too. And then I think we should really try and wrap all this up, this whole series, by challenging students to commit to getting dirty and serving in a couple of different ways. And I would put a timeline on that serving by the end of the year, that when we talk about serving and getting out of our box and doing that, it's not just mission trips. I love mission trips, and they're great, but there's plenty of ways for us to serve inside the church and outside the church, and challenge students to take opportunities to get dirty serving in the church, and then to take part of some of the stuff that we're doing, with whether it's Open Hand, whether it's the new thing we're working with schools. What's that called? Hold on. Tutoring is the word I'm looking for. I have no idea why that just slipped my mind. Get involved in tutoring, get involved in Open Hand, get involved in Missions Week, definitely, and just get dirty and do it this year a couple times and just allow God to change your perspective. So have a great group, and I will talk to you later.